Today I will show you how to georeference using QGIS. So firstly, open a new project and you need a plugin for this. So in the top over here, you see plugins, go to manage and install plugins. You'll be prompted with this and then just search up Georeferencer and you should see something called Georeferencer plugin. I already installed it so it doesn't show up on my screen. And after you install it, let me just show you how you can install it. I'll just use a random plugin as an example. See this one? You press on whatever you want to install, and then you press install plugin. Preferably, yeah, like this. You just press it and it'll install. And then after you install it, go into raster, and you should see Georeferencer down here. Press on that. And now you'll be prompted with this screen. So let's just close that for a second. Now we need the actual map. So I'm just gonna import QGIS base map. So here's a world. This is equilateral projection. So I will be using this as demonstration, but if you want to georeference in different projections, you can just go into the bottom right and then find whatever projection you want. For instance, if you want Europe, you want a projection like this one, you can do that too. But I will be using the default equilateral projection. All right, so with the actual georeferencing, go into raster, georeferencer, and then up here, press on this one. It's a blue checkerboard, and this you can basically import a file. So I'll import this map I found on Reddit. It's a very nice map, and I think it'd be a good demonstration. So first things first, let's just see what this map has. So it has cities, rivers, grid lines, detailed coastlines, and I believe that is it. There aren't any modern borders, so I can't really use these, but there are other elements that we can use to georeference this. So let's see, rivers, and that won't be a problem. Let's import rivers. So here we have rivers. This one is a bit more tricky with rivers because there's a lot of them. But if you're able to find any crossing points, that's good. There's cities. Cities aren't great, so let's import that. Maybe let's add some labels to these. All right, and grid lines, of course. I believe these are 2 degrees. Most maps, if they have grid lines, it'll show numbers up here, and then you can figure it out that way, but this one doesn't, so I believe it's 2 degrees though. Let's see. Yep, that's right there. Goes up here. Yeah, it's 2 degrees. So now actually with the georeferencing. So basically how georeferencing works is you add a point on the image and then you reference it to a point on a map, and then with enough points, the georeferencer will basically warp this image into this projection. So let me just show you an example. Let me just show you how you can add points. So let's say we wanted to add, let's use Paris as a point. So let's deactivate these so it's a bit less messy. So Paris right here. So make sure this one's selected. This is add point, and just press in the middle, try to get as centralized as you can. You'll be prompted up with this when you left click. So basically you can either enter coordinates or you can choose a coordinate from the map. I will show you how to do both. Right now, I will do the map one because I don't know the exact coordinates Paris is in, but I can just press this one and then press on Paris. And then I press OK. As you can see, it basically saves the coordinates. So I'm going to do OK. And now there's a point on Paris that corresponds with the image. So this is good. Let's just do this with a lot of the other cities. The more points you have, the better. All right, so now I've added a point to every single city that was visible with this map. So these cities here in Belgium, I could not find, unfortunately. Oh, wait, no, these are in France, never mind. But yeah, no, I cannot find those with this map, but that's okay. I got every other city. So basically you just add the points. So you usually don't have to do every single city, but this is for the most accuracy. So let's disable those. Now we can see we have a large spread. Now let's take a look at coastline. So the coastline is probably going to be the most useful one because not all the maps you're going to georeference will have cities. I know some of the ones I have georeferenced only had coastlines, which was kind of inconvenient, but it's no big deal because you can still do a lot with coastlines. So I'm going to remove this world map because it's really, what's it called? It's not very precise. So let's open a more precise one. I'll use this one. There we go. So this, now we can see a closer correlation. So here we can see that these two correlate, right? So here in northern France, here as well, we have this little island, so you can just press on that island and then press on this island. So those points are not exact, but they're extremely close, and that's really what you're trying to do in with georeferencing. It's not always about being very exact, it's just about being pretty close because the final product will be the same projection. So you can just move it around or change it up how you need it to be. So here we have this little indent here, so that correlates with this island, this indent. I might be a couple kilometers off, but that's okay. We can go in the center of this island. We can do some points in Brittany here. So use this one, put it there, and this one, go down there. I know here we can do one. What you're really looking for are pronounced peninsulas. So for instance, this down here would not exactly be very easy to correlate down here because usually with rivers, a lot of different maps represent them very differently. So this map, for instance, is a bit different from this one. This is actually a really bad example because it does have something similar, but with other riverways, it can be very different. So I would advise to stay away from these, even though they're really pronounced, they might not be the same on your map. Best to stick with coastlines like this one. This is a peninsula that's very easy to find. So just repeat this as much as you can. Try to get as many details as you can. Alright, so I've gone around and added some points to some coastlines. It's not, I don't think it's enough, but I've done so many cities that I think it's okay. Now let's go with rivers. Rivers for this map in particular will be pretty difficult because these rivers are a lot more convoluted than I'd like it to be, and it might be a bit hard to relate it with this one. So if we're trying to get this side, if we're trying to get the borders, right, we're gonna want more points near the borders. And right now, most of it is in central France, which is okay. This will still help a lot. But if we want this part to be the most accurate, we might need to add more data there. Unfortunately, I don't think I have the brain power to try to solve this maze. So I don't think I will be doing rivers with this map. This map is a bit more difficult to solve with rivers just because it's so convoluted. So I'm just gonna go ahead with rendering it. So go to settings here, it's a golden gear, and here you'll be prompted with a lot of options. So let me just go through most of them. Transformation type. This is basically how your thing will be rendered in. I like to use polynomial 3. Downside with this one is that you need at least 10 points. And if you don't have that, I suggest using thin plate spline. This one is really similar, but I think polynomial 3 actually takes the projection, like it finds this projection and then actually I don't really know, but I think that's what it does. So I suggest using polynomial 3, but if you don't have 10 points, use thin plate spline. So here this one doesn't really matter. This is just like how your image will be put on. Cubic should work. Your nearest neighbor also works. Linear works. Cubic is fine. You can just leave it on cubic. Output, you don't need anything here. Here I have this. I don't really need that. And compression, you don't need compression unless you're doing like a super big image, but I suggest just doing it in smaller chunks just so your computer doesn't have a seizure. Here, save these points. I don't think you need to check this because you can just do it. I'll show you how to do that later. Make sure this is checked down here. So press OK, so your settings are good. Now you can press the start button. Now, oh, never mind. I do need that. Okay, so press the start, and then now it's rendering it in, and there we go. So this is successfully georeferenced. How accurate it is, I think it's pretty accurate. Not so much near the south, but that's just because I didn't put nearly enough points down there. So it's a bit lazy. But if we look up here, we can see that it's pretty close. Now I will show you a different way of georeferencing this map in particular, because these have grid lines, and grid lines are your friends in georeferencing. So I'll show you how these points work. So if you want to save these points, maybe you want to send it to a friend, or if you just want to save it for later on, go to File, Save GCP Points As, and then just save it as whatever you want to name it, like linguistic France or something, and then you just press save. I have a lot of these for different maps. I find them really useful and a big time saver, especially if you're georeferencing a lot and the maps are the same, like from the same series. So yeah, now let me show you. Yeah, if you don't want to save it, just discard it. I'm gonna show you how to do it. I like to say the proper way, but you can't always do this because you don't usually have grid lines in all maps. So let's go to raster, georeferencer, and then we delete this. Oh, never mind. Okay. So here we can see grid lines, and grid lines are extremely useful because they are exact and they don't lie. So like a coastline could be a bit inaccurate, which is why this map isn't perfect. But if we do use grid lines, this map will be as accurate as possible. So how grid lines works is that there's usually numbers up here which you can read, but this map doesn't have it, but usually it does. And if it doesn't have it, that's okay. You can just open some 1 degree grid lines and then just look, observe, and all right. So let's take, okay, this one is 0 degrees because it's in line with the observatory. Let's take this one. This one is right above here, so we can see how these match up. So this relates with this. So if we look at the bottom here, we can see coordinate. We can see it's 0, 50. 0, 50. So we can press on the middle here, and then instead of pressing, we could do it this way, but that takes that is unnecessary. So we can just press 0, 50, and then okay. And now that's an exact, that's like a perfect 1-to-1 relation. So here, since this is by 2 degrees, it should be negative 250. Yep. So we just want to repeat this as many times as you want. I suggest doing it for all of them, or at least every other one, for the perfect georeference. It really depends on how much detail you're going to go, because if your map is really detailed, then it's best that you georeference it with every single grid line here. But if it's kind of low quality, not that important, then just do every other one. It's really up to you, but the more points you put in, the more accurate it will be. So you can just watch me do this. All right, so that's done. So what I did here was I just went around, took like 10 minutes probably. Maybe, no, not even, maybe like 5 minutes. I just went around adding these points. So now here you can change it to a thin plate spline. It really doesn't matter anymore because this is like 1-to-1. So if I run this, it will be basically exact. So you can see these lines are like perfectly square. Take a look at the accuracy. So yeah, this is the most accurate you're going to get. Oops. So this base map is a bit offline, like very, actually no, this is really good. Okay, so yeah, that's the second way to do it. So you can do it both ways. I find the first way is probably easier, but this way you get better results. If you can use grid lines, use grid lines, because it makes the quality 10 times better and it makes it 10 times more accurate. So yeah, let's see if I need to cover anything else. I'll just show you, if you want to remove a point, you go up here and you can just press on the remove point. This is common sense. So yeah, that's basically it. Let's just for fun, let's trace this map. Let's take a screenshot of this. So here's a map of the world. That it's a popular base map and is equilateral, so which was not the original projection. So this was the original projection. So let's see if this actually worked. So let's paste in. And let's just move it into place here. Now it should align perfectly with this coastline. It seems like it will. Oops, a bit too small there. That's pretty spot on. So yeah, now I can just trace it normally. Let's trace it with a blue. So yeah, this is how you do it. Well, this is how I do it, which works pretty well. Oh, I did not do this one correctly. And yeah, that's how you do it. Hope you learned something here. And if you have any questions, just leave a comment and I'll try my best to answer it. Yeah, that's about it.